Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 21st, 2025 meeting of the Sustainable Communities Work Group. Before we get started, I want to welcome our new member, Silas, and I forgot to ask you how to pronounce your last name, so I'll let you introduce yourself.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Silas Boache. I just told you, Silas Boache.
Okay, thank you.
I'm honored to join the Sustainable Group, and I'm also glad to learn from Mark and Leslie. I'm here to help be part of the group, very wonderful people trying to help build a better MXPEC. Thank you. I'm honored.
Thank you, Silas. And to my right is Leslie Free, who's been with us for a few meetings now. So before we get into the public comment area, I just want to give a little background as what we are doing here this evening. So this is the Sustainable Communities Work Group that allocates or approves grants for people that apply for grants under the Community Legacy Grant Fund. And a little more background, the Emmetsburg Facade Restoration Program is funded by the Community Legacy Grant from the Department of Housing and Community Development. The Community Legacy Grant supports revitalization projects that contribute to business and tourism attraction, encouraging property owners to take part in the revitalization process. The town's program's purpose is to help residential and commercial property owners in the sustainable communities area undertake restoration projects and improve the visual quality of the area. The town applied for the Community Legacy Grant in June 2024 and was notified in December 2024 that the amount of $75,000 has been approved to fund the program. Subsequently, the applications were made available for property owners in the sustainable communities area to receive up to 50% matching grant with a maximum of $12,500 towards the cost of facade improvement projects. The Sustainable Communities Work Group is responsible for recommending which properties will receive funding from this grant. The recommendations of the work group will be forwarded to the Maryland Historical Trust for final approval. The Maryland Trust will evaluate and select projects for funding based on the proposed project's impact on historical resources in accordance with Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966 and or the Maryland Historical Trust Act of 1985. So that's a little background. And then our guidelines for approval include the following. One, does the project contribute to the general revitalization of the sustainable community area? Two, is there a public benefit to the project? And three, does the project's design conform to the following design standards, which are the distinguishing original qualities and character of the building shall be preserved. Removal of historical or distinctive architectural features may disqualify a project. Two, under this, deteriorated architectural features should be repaired rather than replaced. If replacement is necessary, the new material should match the material being replaced in design, color, texture, and other visual qualities. And then finally, contemporary design for alterations to existing properties is acceptable if such situations, if such alterations do not destroy significant historical, architectural, and cultural materials, and if such design is compatible with the size, scale, color, material, and character of the property and adjacent buildings. So that's some background and our guidelines for approval. And at this time, we can accept public comment, if any. Do you want to speak now, Diane? Diane.
I just wanted to speak if you guys had any questions.
Okay. So
I'll be available.
So I think Diane and Willis are number 8 on our agenda. So if we have any questions for them at that time, we can ask. So next on our agenda is the disposition of minutes for September 16th, 2024. So Leslie and I were there at that time. You have any comments about the minutes?
No comments. I'll make a motion to approve.
I second, and I think it passes with unanimous consent. And it appears we have no old business. Is that correct? So we'll move right into the new business before us.
Before we get started, I would like to ask, seeing that we have the 8 applications with the total of 92,000, but I do see that we have additional funding available. So I wanted to clarify, do we have a total of $97,000 that we can approve for?
That is right. With the FY 24 and FY 25, you have total of 97K.
Okay, thank you.
So,
You have a question also?
yes. I can see that you said we had 8 applicants, right? So that is
But-
on the,
But it shows 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was,
Like,
that's why I paused for a minute.
so I don't know which is first.
So the first sentence, what I was going to read says the town has received 8 applications, but I see a list of 10.
Yeah, I see.
So I didn't catch it before when I was reviewing it, but it looks like we have 10 applications.
Yes, on the list is 10.
Yeah, so the town has received 10 applications requesting a total of $92,229 of an available $75,000 in fiscal year 2024 of community legacy grant funds. And the board is tasked with prioritizing and awarding projects. But it appears we have a balance from 2024, which brings us up to the total amount of $97,970 to be allocated, if need be. So let's move into item number 1. Property at 106 East Main Street. It's requesting painting on the outside of the house. Either of you have comments about this one? Questions?
That's donor, right? This one.
Yes.
Okay, so I looked at that and I was like, I said, the house owner was able to engage, I think 3 contractors, right? And among the quotes that they gave him, he tried to go with the lowest. And also looking at the house and the location, I think he deserved the amount is his due, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Leslie, did you have-
I'm just a little bit confused because I don't see the application for 106 East Main Street.
Oh,
The first one I have on my list, oh, it's that one. Oh, did I mix these all up? Okay. Thank you.
okay.
Okay, and I am Silas. I had the same exact notes to myself on that one, that I did appreciate. I do believe it improves the facade. And I wrote myself a note that they selected the less expensive contractor, which we of course appreciate. And it probably is more affordable for them as well. I did have one question about it being on, it looks like the side and back of the house, but I assume a facade grant still is to improve the outward appearance of the property. So
And there is an alley behind the house that people drive down. It's, that gets a fair amount of use. So, the rear side is important as well. So I think what we'll do is go through each one and kind of get a straw poll of which ones we think are good. And then we'll make a large a motion at the end as to which ones we're approving. Is that okay with you guys?
yes.
So that applicant was requesting Well, the cost estimate for that project was $4,700.
Yes.
So that the applicant was requesting half of that, which is $2,350. So we'll go to item number 2, which is listed as 121 to 123 East Main, but that's Dr. Portier's office, and I'm pretty sure it's West Main. So this is a roof and shutter repair. Yes, Silas, did you have a comment?
Yes, so this owner was looking for a roof leak repair, and I wasn't sure if that qualifies for the grant. But my concern was looking at the building and the contribution of the building to the community.
Mhm.
This is doctor's office, right?
Yeah.
And and the amount being asked here. Reasonably, looking at the picture they have presented, you should know when, I know that what they are asking for really is deteriorating the building, though it's inside. Right, yeah, it is not outside, it's inside, but they've been able to prove that the internal leak is causing an outside damage. And
Well, a roof leak wouldn't necessarily cause outside damage per se, like on the facade, but it could be undermining the roof structure and causing it to deteriorate over time, which, you know, enough time, and that certainly impacts the whole structure.
yes,
I think they're seeing some leaks on the ceiling inside.
yes, that's what they said.
But, you know, a roof is really critically important to any kind of structure because that sheds all the water off of the building. And if that isn't taken care of, it's very detrimental to the whole structure. In my opinion.
Yeah, I had the same kind of question about it. It's the roof repair, so it's not replacing any part of the roof, just repairing because it seems like it's leaking inside. But I think they make a good case that that is proactively preserving the building, that it's not going to have other structural issues on the exterior down the road.
And the shutters certainly
Mhm.
lend to the overall look of the community.
Mhm.
It's good to keep them repaired.
Yes,
So,
And I like the signage. That
yeah.
isn't replacing anything, but I do think if we're looking to make Emmitsburg look better, I think it's nice to have, and I know what office it is, and it is hard to tell that it's a doctor's office.
everyone goes in the rear.
Right. So that, and then I'm not sure though about paying for permits to get the sign. I don't know if the grant,
No,
that would be an acceptable
it wasn't
expense.
stated.
So I think they have looks like a $90 fee for the permit to get the sign, which they wanted the $45 in kind. So I don't know if we have to.
Was that included in, I forget, was
Yes.
that included in the amount that they're eligible for?
Yes, it looks like it.
So, yeah.
Okay.
They requested 2629 from the grant. They'll match that, and then the total would be 5,258. So I do believe if this goes to approval, we would have to remove. And I could be wrong on that. I don't know, Najila, if there's anything that says specific in the grant. It's not well, I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess if you're matching half of the entire cost of the project, so with permits.
So with many, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So with many projects, like if they're doing repairs, they have to get the permits to do
Right.
them. And quite often we may not see that spelled out necessarily,
Okay,
but the
so they're probably
contractor
in
would
other,
have to be getting the repair. or
Okay.
The permit, I mean. So, I mean, it's part of the project, so I don't see that wouldn't be allowed.
okay. That makes
The-
sense
the
that in these
Maryland-
other quotes, we're not seeing that broken down in a
Mhm.
line item
Yeah,
like
and
that,
some
but
things don't
maybe.
require permits, but
Sure.
some do.
Okay. It's still far less than what they could have applied for. And it looked like the quotes that they got seem very reasonable. So, okay.
So we're all good with that?
Yep,
one?
I think that one looks pretty good as well.
So the next item 3, 222 East Main Street, a new roof on top of the front porch of the main house with fascia and gutters. Oh, is it? Oh, okay, it's the upper roof, I think is what this meant, the top roof and then the front porch of the main house. So the whole cost estimate was 10,250. The amount requested is 5,125, and that's the amount they're eligible for is 5,125.
I don't know this house. Is this picture the back of the house? Because that looks like the partial roof they're talking about, because this looks like the front of the house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the front that he showed last.
And so, so maybe it's this little roof. I can't tell which one the front of this house and the roof looks great, but I can't tell by looking at it. But if we're talking about then this one, it's almost like there's two different properties.
It's this one. The blue one,
The blue one.
yes. So this is the front of it. And this should be the back because they asking for front and back roof.
Oh, they did.
Yes, it's the front and back.
New roof on top and front porch of main house. So maybe a whole new roof and just the
On
front.
top
gets
and
the-
front, yeah.
Okay, so they don't want to replace that on the back.
And so you can see
Apparently not.
two porches here for the front one and the
Mhm.
back one. This one, this should be the front.
So they only mentioned the front porch,
It's a
at
front
least-
and,
at least in the summary.
on top and front porch. Oh, they didn't say back.
Yeah, they aren't mentioning the back porch.
Okay.
I don't know why, but they aren't.
Well, the estimate that they took is option number 1, which it says the option is for the upper main roof and the front porch roof.
Right,
So,
right.
although that's what option 2 also says, I don't see anywhere where the second,
Yeah, I didn't-
Is it
I
on-
mean, that may just show what I'm assuming that's the back of the house.
Yeah, so they're showing the upper roof. on the
Oh,
back
yeah.
photo.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
You know, the main house roof, in other words,
okay.
partially anyway.
So Mark, I'm no contractor. How do we know the roof needs replaced, I
Well,
guess?
that-
It looks
that's-
nice, but I have no idea what
Yeah, that gets to be.
kind of the
tricky sometimes.
seam in the middle looks maybe a little, I don't know. I mean, obviously we need good roofs in Emmitsburg and if.
I mean,
if
I've
they-
walked by this house, but I haven't flown my drone over it, so I don't know for sure what condition the roof is, but I, kind of have to
And this is
take the
where,
contractor at the word.
and it's kind of, part of the application really should include a narrative about why they want this done. And we didn't
Yeah.
really get anything besides
didn't
just
help.
what they want done. I would actually suggest when we get back to this one that we ask for further information from the homeowner to tell us why. Obviously, I'm guessing their roof has problems or it's a
Yeah,
certain
it-
age
it
and
is
that's why they
stated.
want the roof. And then I suspect somewhere in that quote, we can tell that they're going to kind of maintain what the roof looks like right now, although they are not historical looking shingles necessarily. So that may be when we have to push back out to get a little bit more explanation, just to make sure we know why they're requesting a new roof.
So the contractor here just made the explanation in
Okay,
the option 1 on the contract, PJ's Roofing.
Mm-hmm.
So he says this option is for the upper main roof on the
Yes,
front porch.
yes.
So they are removing the existing shingles and other underlayment from the roof, removing the existing gutters. And so like you said, the homeowner did not really put out why they want to change it.
Right.
So I don't know if it's because it's old or it's because it's leaking, but they just want to change the roof.
Yeah, it would be kind of nice to know, because looking at the photo, I can't see anything that tells me this roof is bad. I mean, it might be worn and it might just be to the point where it's like being proactive to replace it. But they don't mention anything about leaks or the age of the roof or anything like that. And the photo's not really good enough to really assess what condition the roof's in.
So these other options from PJ say that there's a rear detached apartment building. So that may be a whole different structure that we're looking at. And yeah, again, when we look at the SOP for this grant, the applicant's really are supposed to be stating how the project leads to the preservation and rehabilitation of the property exteriors. So we're just, it's basically an incomplete application in my view.
Yes, I think we can ask for further explanation. I second that.
So we're in agreement, we're going to defer this and ask for more information from the applicant and get an explanation of why they want this grant. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and that brings us to item or applicant number 4, 313 North Seaton Avenue. So this person wants a porch installed on the front of their house. And their explanation is, we moved here in 1999. I've always wanted a new porch on front of our house. There must have been one there at one time. I would love to have a front porch for shade and make the house look better. I'll attach the porch to the house with 3 posts.
I am concerned with this application that they don't understand that there's a matching component. Where they filled in the grant funds requested, they just wrote max. And then they have 12,500. They didn't put in, they didn't show that they understand that they're responsible for the remainder of it, even though their quote came in at about 15,000. So the math is a little off.
So our town planner, Najila, did correct the amount, the eligible amount in the document
Yeah,
here.
he did.
So they won't get what they're asking for. They'll get what they're allowed. If we were to allow it or grant it.
Okay, so do we know, I would like to make sure this property owner understands if this goes to approval, that they have to match a certain part of that.
Yeah, they would certainly be made aware of that before they would go forward. But I have a different concern actually about
Okay,
this one.
I may share that as
So
well.
there is no existing porch on this
Right.
house. They're talking about a brand new addition being put on the house. So I'm not sure that adheres to the guidelines of this legacy grant. Now the applicant mentioned that the person said there must have been a porch at one time, but
They're not sure.
I see no signs of that. I walked by it. I looked at this pretty closely, actually. And, you know, I've been a home builder and I am a home inspector, and I see no signs of there ever being a porch on this house. So it wouldn't be even being restored to an earlier design. It would just be a new structure. And again, I'm not sure that that really aligns with the criteria.
Just to talk about like a previous project, I think Emmitsburg Tattoo, that building, I'm not sure if a new porch was put there. This was before my time, so I don't remember. So
There was an old porch there.
Yeah,
Old porch
there
there,
was an
okay.
old porch. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It used to be like a big
They
window.
just made it new looking and
Okay.
safe,
Okay,
which is important.
yeah, but
Um,
they didn't add
but-
a new one, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. I had the same kind of concern. But I do think it would look much nicer with the front porch. And if the aim of the grant is to improve the facades in the sustainable area, I don't know. I don't know if we open a can of worms by approving an addition when one didn't exist before, but you can get a little bit in the weeds, really reading into the grant of what they're, it's improving the look of the properties in Emmitsburg. But I think for now, you're right. It's not an existing structure that needs replacement. I am curious if we have money left over, if we can revisit something like that, and it may just be an absolute no. But it would enhance the look of a home in Emmitsburg. So we can kind of say a soft no for now, kind of mark it, and then as we go back to
Okay.
do all of the approvals. Or do you just want to?
No, I'm thinking through, so there's other houses on that street that are the same design, and none of them have porches. So, I mean, we're kind of changing the facade instead of, keeping it intact and improving it. So I'm kind of in a quandary with this one.
Yeah.
Would there be such a thing as approving this with contingencies and asking the Maryland Historical Trust if this would align with their criteria? I mean, they have to approve it anyway. So I guess if we were to approve it and then the Maryland Historical Trust said no, then that would answer the question.
Yeah. Do you have a contact there? You could ask that really specific question. It's basically an addition.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say there's other homes there that don't have roofs, but I do think it would be lovely that over the years with these grant funds, that whole section of town then could maybe
Okay.
be more visually appealing and better for tourism and some of the other reasons that we have outlined in this grant. But yeah, I think it would be nice to get real clear.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of table it until our next meeting.
Or like I said, we could just approve it with a contingent that
Okay.
we would then let the Maryland Historical Trust decide. If you all feel good about it. I personally don't think it adheres to the criteria,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I'm not the one that makes the criteria. So if we were to approve it and then Maryland said, no, it doesn't work, well, then we'd have our answer, I guess.
Right. Silas, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I had the same concern, so I'll go with what Mark is saying.
Okay.
I had the same concern when I look at it because I was just thinking this, what the new one, what is it going to change? So I tried looking at the houses there. So like what you were saying, if all the house owners on that lane want to do it, then it's going to like, give a new look. But if just one house is going to do it, is it going to like map what we are looking for or not? That was my concern.
Got it.
So I think I agree with Mark.
Yeah, and I don't know that it would distract from anything. I don't know that it harms anything just to have this house have a porch, but I mean, there are other houses on the street with porches, just not the same bungalow style house. So Miss Hassan, what do you think?
I can reach out to our project manager for this grant and get her intake. And
So would you prefer we table this for now, or can we make a motion to approve and then just let them say no, or what do you think would be the best approach?
I believe the latter would be the best approach. Yeah. Approve it with contingency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And this brings me back to our application.
Oh,
I'm going to make a suggestion here, moving outside of the business we're working on. But when we ask people to provide a brief description of the proposed work, I'd love it to align a little bit better to that they have to demonstrate how the proposal aligns with the grant's objective, how it leads to the preservation and rehabilitation of the property's exterior. We do see that in some of our applications and it makes it clear as day. But these ones that just don't really tell us the what and the why makes these decisions a little bit harder. So maybe that's something we can determine for next year's grant application.
Yeah, it's been sort of challenging to get all that information from property owners, even when
Yeah.
I walk them through the application. So
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, sometimes it's obvious looking at the house what the problem is.
Right.
Some aren't so obvious.
Right.
So it does help if they have some kind of rationale for asking
Yeah.
what they're asking for sure.
Okay.
So,
Sorry to interrupt. I just remembered that I did email our project manager, Sarah Jackson from DHCD about this.
oh,
And she said a covered porch can be added and be submitted for reimbursement. And then I also sent her a picture because I wasn't sure whether to include this application
okay,
in there. So
okay.
Okay. That
Okay.
sounds good.
So we don't need the contingency
Yeah,
part, I
well,
assume.
Yes.
We'll just,
Okay.
assuming we're good with it and we want to approve it. Yeah. Okay, so we're up to applicant number 5. 404 West Main Street. Asking for exterior painting and repointing of brick. The total cost estimate for the project is $27,790. They're eligible for $12,500, and that's what they've requested.
I find this easy to approve.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to remember which one this was, yeah. Yeah, I think they, gave a good explanation and again, I have looked at this house and it does need some work. So how about you, Silas?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Long, can you give a quick explanation? I'm sorry if I cut you off there, Silas.
No problem.
Just tell me in layman's terms, what is repointing of the brick? Just out of curiosity.
So you have brick that's laid in horizontal rows, and it's the historical structures, the walls are a brick structure. They're usually, I don't know,
Mm.
8-10 inches thick, and the whole wall is brick. And this home is that way, at least a portion of it. So with older bricks like that, after a while, I mean, it can happen to newer bricks too, but after a while, when a house has been around and having the elements act on it, the mortar between the bricks can be
Okay,
worn away.
so it is.
So the
Okay.
repointing is, putting new mortar
Okay.
in between the bricks. So it keeps water from going in the house and maintains the structural integrity. And it looks like they want to redo areas that have been repaired before,
Mhm.
and they didn't repair them in the best way.
Hmm.
It kind of are really noticeable. So they're trying to bring the house back to a more original
Mhm.
look, in other words.
So I think the painting here is from the picture. They're talking about the windows, right? And the frames. That's what they want to paint. And this side, they said they want to change the bricks, not paint it.
Um,
Yes.
Is the picture with the front porch, is that the actual front porch or is that an
Yes.
example of the color? Oh,
No, that's the actual front porch.
okay.
So they want to
Yeah.
paint
Oh,
some
I
of the
see.
front porch, I guess, and the frames and window
frame.
frames, attic windows, flower boxes, soffit fascia. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of painting.
Okay.
So a lot of the trim looks like in the fascias and the soffits. It's all very important. And this has some very detailed architectural features. make the painting a real joy.
Mm.
So that's at least part of the reason why this is kind of a high cost. So I'm good with this one.
Yeah, I'm good. I think again, the historical context that they provide really helps
Yes.
remind us what this grant is intended to do.
So we're up to applicant 6. This is 448 East Main Street. They want to replace asphalt driveway, replace walkway in front porch, grade yard facing the main street, install a sunken fire pit into the yard facing the main street. So the entire cost estimate is $21,450. They're eligible for $10,725, and that's what they're asking for.
Also, I did reach out to our project manager about this one too. They don't fund landscaping, hardscaping, so from like facade improvement projects, so. It's
Did
up
you
to
say hardscape also, or just the landscaping part?
I think she just said landscaping. Yeah, landscaping.
Okay.
yeah. Sorry.
Mm,
So it's up to you to decide which part of this project to fund.
right. So the
So-
grading,
So item number 3 on the line items, the grade yard facing Main Street would be stricken. And I assume along with that, the sunken fire pit.
Yeah,
I mean, if they aren't going to do the grading, is, I don't think they'll do the fire pit. I had kind of a question about that anyway.
so did I, but if we can add a porch, I feel like this is one we've approved for other projects in the house. If you
Yeah,
look at it, it
last
is
year we
looking-
approved garage doors.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, I think I said this out loud. I said, I wish they'd fix up the whole house.
And they
did.
have, yeah, it's looking really nice. And they did take down some old diseased trees. And in the application, you see they have the biggest mulberry in Frederick County. So
Yeah, they've done a lot of work. on
it
this
is,
house.
it's, I think it's
Looking much
Yep,
better
absolutely.
overall.
So the driveway and the walkway are acceptable then, right? As it's not the landscaping, that's kind of,
And I did
hardscaping.
look at the asphalt. It is depressed in some places and cracked up, and it is at some places flowing towards the house, which would channel water towards the house. So that I think is legitimate. And then front walkway also is deteriorated in some areas.
so is the front walkway considered landscaping or?
Not really. That's something to provide you access to
The front door.
a building. And
Okay.
It needs to be safe.
Yep.
And walkable.
Okay. Well,
So out of what they're requesting, we would subtract
Nice.
4,900 and 1,750. So we're subtracting 6,650 out of that, it looks like.
So they really only need 4,075.
Yeah. I'm coming up with something different. I'm coming up with 5,850.
Are we just looking at 1 and 2, replace the asphalt driveway and replace the front walkway?
Yes.
So 2,700 and 1,375.
So, okay, I was subtracting out the others. So why doesn't that all add up right? Okay, but yeah, it's easier to add those two. Why was I getting a different total? Okay, so yeah, 4,075.
Yes.
For some reason, that wasn't jiving for me. Okay. Oh, I was in the wrong line. That's what I did. I was subtracting from something else. Okay, we're up to applicant 7. This is 512A West Main Street. And this applicant wants to replace existing rusting metal roof, change to certainteed filtered shingle. Age of existing roof is unknown. We purchased home in 2003 and roof age was unknown then. So at least 22 years old. Ideal shingle color used would be Max Def Red Oak. If town does not approve of color, second option is Max Def Colonial Shake.
So I have a question about, I thought they had to preserve the look, so I would assume they would have to do another metal roof. But I don't like pigeoning people into what kind of roof they have to. It does change the look of the building if they go to a shingles after it being a metal roof, but it does look very rusty, so.
Yeah, it's definitely rusty and needs something.
Mhm.
But I was grappling with that myself. It's not entirely certain that the metal roof that's on it is original,
Mm.
one thing.
It's true.
I mean, it could be, I just don't know that, but I have been in house attics and they would have this old style of metal roof and underneath it, I would see wood shakes quite often. So some of the houses in town may have had wood shakes, but in this case, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like some of those guidelines, so the distinguishing original qualities and characters of the building shall be preserved. Removal of historical or distinctive architectural features may disqualify a project. Deteriorated architectural features should be repaired rather than replaced. If replacement is necessary, the new material should match the material being replaced in design, color, texture, and other visual qualities. So this really moves far away from that. But I don't know, do metal roofs last as long? Is it better to go
A
shingle?
newer metal roof will last practically forever.
Oh, okay.
Well, nothing's forever, but
Mhm.
even these old metal roofs, I mean, they may be 100 years old,
okay.
some of them. And if you, on these old metal roofs, if you kind of keep up with painting and sealing, they can last a long, long time. Now, eventually they just wear out and you have leaks, but metal roofs last longer than shingle roofs.
Okay.
in general.
Well, and here now I'm looking at that third bullet. Contemporary design for alterations to existing properties is acceptable if such alterations do not destroy significant historical, architectural, and cultural materials. And if it's compatible with size, scale, color, material. So, I mean, I don't know that that destroys significant historical character, but I guess that's really subjective. Is this this is a 2-story property?
Mhm. Yes. So I do know if they replaced it with standing seam metal, the cost would have been much, much more,
Mm,
maybe 3 times.
And they requested, this is another one where I just don't see that they put in their share, like that they
Yeah,
understand that they have to
didn't
match.
quite understand that, or they didn't fill it out anyway. So I assume the town planner, when she sends out the letters of approval, that will be made clear to them that they have to meet, 50% of the cost, and they have to do the work before they get anything from the grant. I mean, that's part of the criteria.
So they'd really be responsible for, because it looks like 8,900 was the full quote. So they would be requesting half of that.
Yeah, and that's
So
what
44.50.
Najila has on the sheet here, 4450 that they're eligible for.
Oh, I am looking at the agenda.
Yeah, it's not on the front page, it's on this memo.
Got it. Oh, I'll look at this one from here on out.
Yeah.
Thanks. That answered a few questions for me. Thank you. Okay. So I'm okay, even though it changes the historical look from above. I don't know that you can really see much of the roof.
Yeah, if you're walking on the street,
From the
you
street.
may or may not see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, but have to step back to the other side of the street. How you feel, Silas?
Yeah, same. So I had it here that I think they deserve it because looking at the existing one, you can see it's rusted. And they don't even know when it was changed, but
Mm.
they moved in 2003. So that's a long time
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, I mean, that roof is
Still,
old.
my
It
Yeah.
it could be
concern
100
was
years old.
From the what is it? Changing from the metal to yes, that was my concern.
Mhm.
But I wrote here, I'll leave that to Mark to decide. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'm okay with it. I mean, the roof definitely needs work.
Yep.
And, I don't know the circumstances. They may not have had the money to do it.
Sure, maybe they do know that, yeah,
Yeah.
the metal would be a lot more.
So
Okay.
I'm good with number 7. At 4450. So we're up to 535 West Main Street. Number 8. And these folks also have a metal roof and they want to replace the entire metal roof. And there have been leaks. They have tried repairs. But it's at the point where it really needs replacement, it looks like.
This is one I wrote to myself. It's a fully complete application, historical
Yes.
property with great background.
Yeah.
I'm in
this-
full support.
This is the applications we like to see.
Yes, it's very helpful.
Yeah.
It's also, this is what I was saying, part of the work I enjoy on this committee is I get to learn about the history of Emmitsburg through these
Yeah.
applications. So I do appreciate getting to hear all of that. So yeah, I think it's perfect use of the grant funds.
So we're good with that one?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
On to
easy.
number 9. 601 West Main Street, which I believe is the Emmett House.
Is this AKA Doughboy?
Well, it's the building with the Doughboy in front of it.
Okay, well, those of us on that end of town just call the whole building the Doughboy, so I don't know why. We're also called the Juba Hood from the college kids, so. Learn a lot of stuff from the local residents.
Uh-huh.
This is another one. I would have loved some historical background and kind of a narrative
Nothing.
about,
They didn't put.
yeah, the why and the what's going on with everything. And that's why, I mean, it seems like a huge job. It feels pretty incomplete to me. I don't see a lot of the fields filled in the actual application.
Yeah.
I
which-
see that the quote is for much more than. Seems like a lot of work, honestly, also for,
Well, it's a large building.
yeah,
And it's like the same metal roof of the 2 before this one with all the rust on it. Now, the Emmett House roof doesn't have so much rust on it anymore. They have recently repainted it. But a new owner has acquired it. I just happen to know this.
Okay.
So this gentleman here applied for another grant for another building. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy that it's near the firehouse
Mm,
on the same side of the street, and he rehabbed that whole building and did a really fine
Oh,
job with
it's
it.
got the dark blue or
Yeah,
grayish.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that does look nice.
So
So is this just for the
Mm,
roof then?
yes, just the metal roof.
Oh,
No,
because his description says complete remodel, windows,
Yes.
doors, painting, parking lot, brickwork,
Oh, I'm
landscaping,
sorry.
and roof,
not
I'm
roof,
sorry.
yeah.
which is why I didn't know how he came in at $33,000 for all of that with such a huge building.
My concern with this was that this is a building I really like to
Mm.
be, because where it's located is really
Mhm.
fascinating. But my concern was the house owner did not put any much for me to understand what he needed.
Right.
Then in the contractor's note, he's saying that they will renail any loose, and if bad rotten wood is discovered, they're going to change it.
Mhm.
But my question is, you don't know the bad woods, you've not discovered them yet. So how were they able to come out with the amount they're going to charge?
Yeah, I guess the homeowner would just have to eat that cost if it came
Well,
up, right?
You see, there's a clause here. If they find any bad or rotten wood, they have an additional price of $75 per
Oh,
sheet.
so that's additional to this
Yeah,
one, not,
yeah.
okay.
So any roofer puts those kind of clause, well, most roofers, I should say.
And
would
do
put
they
that
always
clause.
find bad wood in there?
Almost always.
Okay. I feel like that.
Yeah,
I know how that goes.
yeah. Well, again,
Okay.
I know this roof was leaking. I could see it from the
Oh,
ground.
oh, okay,
I live a
okay,
few houses from here,
okay.
and I would watch it over the years.
Yeah,
It has been bad in some places.
okay.
That's-
And it, at one time, their porch was ready to fall down, and I almost reported them, but
Mm.
they
I
didn't.
mean, how many, I would have loved to have known like how many units are in here. I have read a little bit myself in the past about the building, but yeah, it's interesting that it's just a roof replacement.
Well, I know I said that at first, but then it says remodel windows, doors, painting, parking lot,
Brickwork, landscaping. roof.
and roof.
Yeah,
But
it's really just the roof.
It's a big building.
Uh-huh. I mean, I'm all with Silas. This is a main focal point of town, right across from the other lovely historical home. I just want to make sure we know what we're approving.
okay, so the bid here is only for the roof. Even though in the description here, it says remodel windows, doors, painting, parking lot, brickwork. So I mean, the bid he has in the application is just for the roof. And that's the 33,863.
And is this going to be then shingles as well? So it looks like they're taking the metal roof down. Looks like lifetime dimensional
Yeah.
shingles. Mm,
Yeah,
it changes it too, doesn't it?
wish that had been kept as a metal roof.
Mm. And I feel like, I wonder how the gutters are on this. Are they replacing the gutters in here? Doesn't say that,
Well,
does it?
Yes.
Okay,
Going by what I know he did on the last building he rehabbed, it's going to be a total rehab.
okay,
But I'm making an assumption there.
okay. I just, you can tell the wood posts at the bottom on the street, it look like they're rotting
Yeah.
out. So I would hope they, if they're doing the roof. Does the building, oh,
When I talked to the applicant to give me more information.
Yes, please.
She did say it was gonna be a total rehab of the building.
well,
They didn't have estimates for every single aspect of the project, so.
they're gonna start at the top.
Yeah, well, that's smart.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where you want to start.
Yeah, I mentioned the windows as well, and I believe the photos that they included, they were to show the windows rather than the roof. But they also have a roof estimate too, so yeah.
Is this part of the building? This one? Is this supposed to be part? This one?
No, that's what she was calling the Doughboy. It's a monument to people who served in World War One.
Okay, so,
I don't know if it's part of the property or not, but it's
Hmm,
yeah, it's public property.
okay.
statue.
I was going to say he should touch it too.
Well, some Mount students have knocked it down a few times, but
So how many units are in this? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be interesting to know that, but I'm not sure. It's
Yeah,
relevant to
yeah.
our-
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're just approving the roof replacement,
That's
right?
what it looks
Even though
like.
they talked about the windows, I don't see anything about windows in the,
the amount they're asking for is 33,863, and that's what the bid for the roof is. Even though they talk about other things, but that's also confirmed what I thought they were doing was a complete rehab. And yeah, I would have liked to have seen a nice new metal roof on that, but not sure we can say no since we're saying it.
I
yes to
know,
others.
I know, that is. And this is another one that's super high, so we're really not going to see it, but I do
Well,
feel like on the front of the
Actually,
building, you
as you're
can see
going
that
west
roof.
on Main Street, it sticks
Mm.
out right in front of your face.
Oh.
So,
Okay,
Um, Also, if you need more information, if you could clarify what information you're looking for the records, I can communicate that to the applicant. I think that was something she wanted to know.
it would have been nice if, like in all the applications, it would be nice if they filled out the part here where they're to state the reason for doing this. I mean, I have to suspect that there's been leak problems with this roof, just from my own experience looking at it. But it was resealed just last year. But, you know, if this person's putting in a lot of money to rehab this whole building, it's going to be a large chunk of change.
yeah,
And he just probably wanted the roof to look new as well, I suspect. And put in something newer that wouldn't require so much maintenance. Once those metal roofs get to a certain age, they just require a lot of maintenance and repainting and that sort of thing. So, I mean, I would have liked this filled out, but I'm not sure I need more information.
yeah, I think we're just approving the full amount for the roof. I mean, if we-
That's what the bid's for.
Yeah.
That's what they're asking.
they just, it didn't, the narrative didn't really align
Yeah.
to what the actual application was for. So I'm good with,
So we
yep,
good?
yep.
Yes.
So the last one is number 10. 706 West Main Street. And they want to replace a porch roof and gutters. And the narrative is replace 75-year-old porch roof and gutters. Roof will be replaced in kind with standing seam, gray metal roof with 6-inch half round gutters. Existing roof in poor conditions with several leaks and deteriorated wood support beams and ridge beam. Gutters are listed as an option.
There's no pictures of the actual house.
Do you know where this house is
Yep.
located? Do you know where this house is?
Yes,
Where?
very close to my house.
Oh,
Well,
And I think we approved the partial roof
Yeah,
last year. There
yeah.
was, I think, a side roof that was approved. So it sounds like now he's going to do the
it's doing
full.
the porch.
And yeah, last year, the application, it's the old schoolhouse in Emmitsburg. Like it was, you know, it was
Yeah, there's a
used
lo-
as the only school for a long time. So really
It has a lot of history.
cool history to it, but he didn't include any of that. Oh, there are pictures of the house here. Okay.
Yeah, there's photos.
This was
to
the
have
biggest,
A lot of information.
Yes,
about the
packet from
shingles. But geez.
if I needed to know about who's selling shingles and what they're like.
Yeah. But he's doing a standing seam metal.
Right. So my question is, the roof and the gutters, he said the gutters are listed as an option. I guess it doesn't really matter what we're approving. We're approving it toward that project.
Yeah, I mean, the project's what, like 35,000
Yeah.
and he's only going to get 12.5.
Yeah.
And that's for the roof.
Well,
The
yeah,
roof is 12.5.
just the porch.
Yeah, so
So yeah, he's basically gonna, it's 6-inch half round gutters, which those seem to be the old historical ones.
Yeah, and they're expensive.
So I'm good with this application as well.
I am also.
yeah, I am. I was just concerned about the location, but once you know it's within the zone, fine. Because the house is a big house and they will live in
So
it.
what was your concern about the location? I'm not following.
Looking at the picture, I don't know where it is,
Oh,
right?
it's
So
it's on
looking at
the
the
far,
picture,
it's on the
this-
far west of town,
Yeah.
just before you get to the beer convenience store on the right.
Okay. Okay.
A few houses from there.
It's good. I'm-
So it's,
I'm good.
you check, they're in those, in the tract, right?
Oh, yeah.
In this,
Yeah.
is okay. Okay,
Okay,
so do we want to go back now? Do we want to individually make a motion to approve the ones? Or,
so number 3.
yeah, that was really the only one we have. We need a little bit more information on that one.
Oh, that was the front porch. So,
Oh, but they did say
Oh.
we don't need the contingency on that one.
oh, so
'cause-
we did decide to go ahead and approve that. So is there any that we weren't approving?
448, not all of it is being approved, I'm guessing, because only partially.
And I'm sorry, could you say that again?
448 East Main, I think that's only partially.
The one we can't do the
Right,
landscaping on.
yeah, we had to reduce
So
that
that's a
amount.
partial approval, but this one at 222 East Main,
This one.
were we gonna get more information about
This one. Yeah.
the roof 222? Or did we figure out what we needed from that one? I thought we needed to ask.
Oh,
a
that's the
little-
one.
Yeah, we
couldn't
can't tell
see the
which
shingles.
structure it
Right,
is
right.
and why they need to replace it.
So I think we can leave that one out of our approval motion and ask for more information about this one, the 222 East Main. He needs more information about the roof and its condition or better photos or something. And we can come back to that one if that's okay.
Okay.
So applicant number 3, 222 East Main Street. We are requesting more information. So then the remaining ones we're approving as is, except for number 6 at 448 East Main. We had to reduce the amount to 4,075 because they can't do landscaping. So would somebody like to come
Is-
up with a motion?
Okay, I was gonna say, was that the motion or, okay.
No, I shouldn't make a motion.
So if I make a motion, I'm capturing all of that
Correct.
again. Okay.
Please.
I will make a motion to approve all applications except for 2. Hold on, I'm going to restart. I'll make a motion to approve all applications. Number 6 at 448 East Main Street with a reduced amount that does not include landscaping. And then not including number 3, which is at 222 East Main Street. We will be seeking additional information for that application.
That sound good enough? You want a second?
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Applications 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10 as is, with a reduction of amount in applicant 6 to take into consideration that landscaping can't be approved. And then number 3, we're leaving out because we're requesting more information about the roof condition. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's approved. So I think I lost my agenda. Any other public comment out there? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So if we have no more business, Ms. Hassan, I think we'll adjourn. Adjourn.